Good morning. Good morning. Testing. Yeah, okay, great. Just checking mic works. It does. All right. So, why am I streaming today? Hold on. Well, I streamed 2 days ago and for some reason I accidentally pressed mute. And I muted a third of the stream. So it is what it is. And then the other thing was that there was big news for Dtravel and TRVL. Anyway, I wasn't going to look at Bitcoin, but I'm going to quickly have a look at Bitcoin. First. What's going on Bitcoin? Let me just update the volume levels. Look at the order flow as well. Right, so we're getting some bearish CVD here on the order flow. You can see the CVD is going up. That means the market buying is being absorbed by limit selling. We're underneath the daily VWAP. We're underneath the daily open. So this is actually quite bearish. It's bearish order flow. You can see how bearish it is. We're putting higher highs on the CVD and the price is putting lower highs. This is bearish order flow. Underneath the VWAP on the daily open, it's just a bearish setup right now. So I don't have good news for the bulls. It looks bearish, huh? Last week was a pretty bearish week. It washed this point of control 2 weeks in a row, and now we're just sitting above the point of control. Usually consolidation above resistance and the downtrend is bearish. We've lost this pivot high. We haven't been able to come back for a test. We're getting bearish absorption. This is looking quite bearish. The month has just dropped. Look at that. Big buying tail, but then it's kind of filling on the monthly chart. Yeah, it's not the 15-day chart. Look at that. The body is bigger than the wick, so it's actually quite a bearish candle. Same as the 2 weeks. Actually, 2 weeks is less. But that wick should get filled, and Bitcoin is in a bit of trouble right now. It's a bit of trouble. It's not good. Based on this head and shoulders pattern, we're kind of looking to go all the way down to the value area low. A back test of this SR flip. Possibly, I think if we lose around 55k, we could go down really quickly, actually, all the way down to, I don't know, 32. Personally, I think we're still kind of in this lower channel. We're filling the top part, ready to make a move down. We could bounce on the way, but bounces are just bounces. They don't mean anything. So that's kind of Bitcoin at the moment. I go around 55k. 55k is going to be quite an important level because you've got this weekly level with this 50 fib, and you've got a naked daily point of control. I think 55k is going to be a really important level for Bitcoin. And what you want to see is a strong bullish reaction. If you don't get a strong bullish reaction on 55k, this area, then we're going to go down further, and then it could be, we lose that trend line, we lose that area, we could go down much further. We go down further quite quickly because there's not much liquidity all the way down to around 30k. That's the problem. A problem with Bitcoin right now. So I think 55k is going to be a very important area. 54, 55. Again, when the price crashes or drops, you can always get the price going over. So it's not something that you should just plow into and expect it to go up. You should, we need to wait for a reaction. We need to wait for a sign of strength. That's Bitcoin at the moment. Would you short now? It's a question. I mean, if you did short, you'd have to have the invalidation at the highs. It's quite a wide stop. It'd be a lot safer to wait to lose this point of control and then short the back test of the point of control. It'd be a lot safer to do that. If you lose the point of control, it'd be something like this. You kind of lose it, and then the shorts would pile in, and then that's kind of what you're looking for. But at the moment, it looks quite bearish on the order flow. When I look at the order flow, it's pretty bearish. So CVD's going up, the highs are going lower. It's not looking bullish at all. So that is Bitcoin. I wasn't going to do a Bitcoin update, but it's always good. It's always important when you're looking at markets, when you're looking at altcoins, to know about Bitcoin, to understand Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is the tide that rises all boats. It's the tide that crashes all the boats, right? And usually I do a weekly Quanex update, and I said Quanex is looking bearish, and when I look at Quanex now, it's gone up, and then it's just putting in lower highs, and now it's starting to reverse. I'm feeling quite bearish at the moment on Quanex, maybe for another attack of the lows at 1.4 cents or so, 1.4 and a half. All right, so the big news this week has been TRVL. Yeah, and I really wanted to talk about TRVL today. And if you don't know who I am and you're interested in Dtravel, then I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Amir. I'm a 4.99 star superhost on Airbnb. I've been doing Airbnb for a good part of 10 years or more. And I have properties in London, which I rent out on Airbnb. So I'm quite well versed in the short vacation rental market. A lot of reviews. If you want to, that's my link. You can go and have a look. And I also have a very, very, very small YouTube channel, which I started 2 years ago. Why? Because I love crypto. I'm interested in crypto. I've only got 955 subscribers, very small niche market, but one by one we will grow that. I do a weekly live stream. I analyze Bitcoin. I analyze 2 other coins, Quanex and TRVL, Dtravel. I have a Dtravel playlist going back 2 years. Sometimes I do other coins, but sometimes I teach. Sometimes I trade. But that's me. And if you haven't subscribed, then I would appreciate a thumbs up and a subscription. You can come and chat to me on my comments. You can chat to me on Telegram. And I'm very interested in Dtravel. I've been volunteering and investing in Dtravel for nearly 4 years or 4 years, ever since the beginning. So when you look at the charts and you go to the MEXC chart, basically I got involved in Dtravel around April, around here, 22. Now we're in February 26, so a shade under 4 years. And then I launched my first listing on Dtravel. I have my own domain name, Direct Stay London. This is hosted for free by Dtravel. And there you can look at my apartments in London. You can book them directly. You can contact me directly. And you can pay using fiat and crypto using Dtravel. So I'm very positive about the idea, the concept of Dtravel being a decentralized peer-to-peer short vacation rental booking platform where people like me, hosts, operators, can rent their properties out directly to travelers, and where the calendars are synced with Airbnb, with booking.com, with Expedia, with all the other platforms automatically, and where the calendars are up to date and where people can book directly. They can save on costs because you're eliminating the intermediary fee, which is not small, the Airbnb fee or the booking.com fee. And then you're also directly dealing with the owners, the property operators. And then the other thing that's very interesting about Dtravel is that it's insured. I wonder if I could find it. You look at the Dtravel website. You see that $5 million damage protection coverage. And there it just goes through the process, explains it. I haven't had to use this facility, this feature. This is insured by a third party. And this is actually more insurance coverage than your air cover from Airbnb. So it's a very complete package that we offer. And what's interesting is that it's free. Yeah, it's free, but hosts will pay 5%, and that goes to Dtravel, which goes back into building the network. If you're interested in the network, then there's a page here on dune.com, Dtravel, DAO / Dtravel-network - analytics, and there you can see our real world network and the growth of our real world network. We're in 1,359 cities worldwide. We're in 145 countries. We've had 11,214 operator signups. We currently have 5,587 listings live. To date, we've had a 1.6 million in cumulative turnover, with an average booking value of around $828. So you can see there's steady organic growth. It's relatively slow in the context of the worldwide short vacation rental hospitality travel market, but you can see that there is growth, and it is growing. This is organic growth, and this is what I'm here to talk about today. So what's happening is that Dtravel is launching, or has been launched, is in the process of launching something new. And you can have a look at Dtravel on CoinGecko, TRVL. TRVL is the native token of Dtravel. It's been trading on the markets for over 4 years. And I've talked about this a lot in my streams. And so I'm going to kind of summarize it now. I've talked about the past. I've talked about the problems. I've talked about the reasons why the price of TRVL went up and down on different occasions, and what's happening now. And right now, as you can see, the current market cap is at $578,000, which is it's extremely small, super tiny. It's really small, really low market cap for the value that has been used to develop this real world network. So you can clearly see that there have been some uncertainty. That's what this is, uncertainty, a little bit of fear, maybe some doubt. And I'm kind of, despite my efforts and other people's efforts to try to expose or try to reveal why and give the reasons why Dtravel is good and why Dtravel has so much potential, the market still doesn't yet accept that narrative. The volume has dropped significantly now, so we're kind of low, relatively low volume, but it's still quite high with respect to the market cap. You see that yesterday, let me see if I can bring it to yesterday, the volume was about 20%. It's still quite high with respect to the market cap, but obviously it's quite low. It was much higher a few months ago. You see we were trading around $500,000-$600,000 per day, still around that kind of 10 to 15 to 20% mark. And actually, if you want to see the volume stats with respect to the market cap, it's better to go to CoinMarketCap. That will give you a percentage. Let's see what it says. I think it will. It should do, but it doesn't. I stand corrected. It doesn't. It should do. Usually it has a percentage. They must have changed that. Oh yeah, there it is. Volume divided by market cap, 24 hours. It's about 24% at the moment. That's actually really good. So there is interest. There is accumulation. There is a lot of trading going on. There is a lot of accumulation going on. That gives me confidence that this is not a dead project. And if people aren't familiar with what's been happening, then you can go to the Dtravel website, dtravel.com. You can have a look at the blog. And the blog is really important because not only can you go back in time and see what we've been saying and what's been happening and all the partnerships, you can also go to the second latest blog post, which was called A New Chapter by Dtravel's new CEO, Eric Pace, posted on November the 13th, 2025. And Eric Pace talks about different aspects of the past, what was broken, what Dtravel is building, and how Dtravel can align the incentives and why this matters and what's next. Okay, so he did that, and then there was a little bit of a period of silence because it was the holidays and they were working. And then on January the 9th, Eric Pace, the CEO, made a Telegraph post called "This is just for the community, the future of Dtravel, ownership, identity and continuity." And he talks about travel ownership. Again, why does it matter? So I think the most beautiful thing about Eric is that he's focused on the why. Yeah, he's not just saying, we're going to do it, we're going to the moon, bye, 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 bye. He's saying why. He's explaining the why. He's giving reasons. He's giving tangible, effective, rational, understandable reasons as to what's happening and why it's happening. And everything has got to do with the past and what happened in the past and why the past didn't work and why the future or the present to the future is there's a change and why that change matters, and then how that change is going to be implemented and why that change is going to change Dtravel and make it valuable. Okay, so he talks about what it means for the business model, and then he puts a very nice section on TRVL. If people remember, maybe they don't because they haven't been around long enough or they're just doing their research, the previous leadership, the previous CEO didn't talk about TRVL hardly at all, especially at the beginning. And I know about that past because in October I hosted an event for Dtravel in London, the first ever Dtravel community hosted event. October 27 was the blog post, 2023. That was the former CEO. That's Eric is there. That's the new CEO. You see that? Eric came. That was the old CEO. And we had our first event, all wearing Dtravel hats. We're very excited about Dtravel. And what was interesting is that Dtravel did not, or rather, the old CEO did not talk about TRVL, and it was quite shocking actually for me personally, because I brought crypto people to the event, you know, and crypto investors, crypto speculators, crypto accumulators, and when you bring all these people and there's no word about TRVL, it's a red flag, isn't it? But anyway, it was a nice event, and that marked a significant bottom, and it marked the beginning of the Bitcoin bull market. And since October, I'll show you here on the charts actually, there, October 23, look at that, we put in a pivot bottom. See that? Right there. And that signified a pivotal moment. We put in an all-time low, but we put in a pivot bottom. So, and Dtravel weren't even talking about TRVL. What's interesting about that, the timing, that event and that moment, is that we put in a pivot bottom based on community, based on people. It wasn't really based on the markets, because the markets were all going up and we actually went down and put in an all-time low. But it was the people, it was the community that actually put in that pivot low. And I obviously helped a little bit with the event. And then obviously, if people don't realize that about December 23, around here, I started my YouTube channel. and for a short period of time, we were able to kind of get people interested in Dtravel. Unfortunately, Dtravel made some errors. There were some big mistakes that were made along the way. One of the mistakes was a botched job with tokenomics, and that came out here, March 24. Market didn't believe Dtravel and they sold into it. And then for a period of time, roughly around here, the old CEO went absent, literally just vanished. And then there was no interim CEO, there was no plan, there was no vision, there was nothing except stalled emotions. And the market responded correctly. The market always responds correctly to what's happening. And we had an unimaginable sell-off. It took me by surprise. It took a lot of people by surprise, because we lost the all-time low in February 2025 last year. So exactly a year ago. In February, look, we lost the all-time low there. And after we lost the all-time low, the price dropped another 74%. And since we lost that all-time low, the price is now down another 94%. And so from that pivot high back in December 24, where the CEO was absent, the price of TRVL is down 98.55%. That's to go all the way back up to that pivot high. We would require a 6,000% increase in value, and it's definitely doable. 100% doable. In crypto, everything is possible. And effectively, what the project needs to do is understand, learn from the past, from the mistakes, but then also understand the market, what the market wants, what the market needs, and then make the changes necessary to bring value back to Dtravel, bring value back to TRVL, give investors confidence, give people who are interested in this project like myself confidence, and with confidence people will start to accumulate again, and they'll start to hodl again. And that's what Eric Pace is doing with this new team. The old people have gone, the new people, some of them are from the old guard, but they weren't really decision makers, and they are taking the lead in this new chapter, this new frontier. When I look at the charts, it does look scary. Yeah? I'm not gonna pretend it doesn't look scary. But this is where opportunities arise. Yeah, with extreme fear. It doesn't mean you can't accumulate or buy TRVL now and still hypothetically or on paper lose value. And I've talked about this a lot. I've talked about the accumulation of a token on a micro cap, a super micro cap like this, isn't about buying once and hoping for the best. That's gambling. It's about developing a coherent accumulation strategy which offsets the risk. We're at such a small market cap now that you could either lose your money or you could become extremely wealthy. That's kind of the territory we're in right now. I personally didn't sell. I was personally accumulating all the way from October till here. Yeah, and I still am. And I still believe, strongly believe, even now more so, because when I was active and when I was pushing and promoting Dtravel with the old leadership, even though we silently disagreed at the beginning, I didn't expect the price to lose 2 cents. But now that we have a new leadership, now that we have a new, more coherent, a more understandable, a more ambitious change, with the new leadership, I'm even more bullish. I'm more bullish now at these prices. I'm even more bullish. And in crypto, what I've come to understand is that the best times to accumulate are extreme fear. The best times to sell are extreme greed. Yeah. It's the reverse. It's the opposite. So while people are now looking at their portfolio and going, this is a dead project because the price just keeps on going down, it's not a dead project and the price is going down, but that just gives us more opportunities to accumulate. Hi, Defage. Defage, he says, yeah, I'm still accumulating. Thank you, my friend. Once a week, I'll buy small sums of money, but I think fantastic growth potential at these prices. And you and I, my friend, are in complete agreement. There is always risk, and I think that's the biggest lesson for a lot of people. Crypto has risk. It's a risky business. Yeah. You can lose your money. You can get hacked. I've been hacked. You can invest in scams. I've done that too. You can invest in memes and get completely destroyed, wrecked. You can leverage on Bitcoin and you can get wrecked. Like, welcome to crypto. If people are new to crypto, this is crypto. Welcome. It's a lesson. It's a life lesson. It's a continuous journey of lessons. But the flip side of the narrative is you can become extremely wealthy in very short periods of time. When you bet on a project, and the project that is real, that is genuine, that you have good people and the good community and the vibe is always improving and growing, then it's a better bet. It's a stronger bet, effectively, but it's still a bet. And I've been talking about an idea that I'm starting to work on. It's about creating a movement of people. I talk about it. Where do I talk about it? Why does that say 1 month ago? Oh yeah, because I flip back. This is it. My bullish outlook on Dtravel's pivot and accumulation strategy. I talk about a movement that I'm thinking about helping to start, and I think Defage, you are the one who sums it up perfectly. It would be amazing if we could encourage. I wouldn't say encourage is the right word because there's no financial advice and it's always do your own research, but I think if we can all get in the same mindset of how to accumulate, and it's buying small amounts on a regular basis over a period of time, over a long period of time. I call it coffee money. Yeah. People will gladly go to Starbucks, spend $4, $5, $6, $7, $8, $9 for a 30-minute caffeine boost. Yeah. And ultimately you're making Starbucks shareholders richer, and you're just getting a hit of caffeine, wake you up for the day, which is overpriced. Whereas with TRVL, you could become rich, effectively. You could become extremely wealthy. At these market cap prices, we can do it at $521,000. It doesn't really require many people to create this movement of people who are using their coffee money on a regular basis, on a weekly basis, to accumulate. And if we get enough people with that mindset, then we hold the lows. We create a low. We create a bottom. Once the bottom is in, the bottom's in. Yeah, and clearly the bottom isn't in yet because the price just keeps on going down. Bottoms take time. Yeah, bottoms aren't just like bang bang, unless you get a super rich billionaire come in and say, hey, I want to buy all of TRVL now. We're not going to get that kind of bottom. The reality is a bottom is probably going to round. It's probably going to form a structure. It's going to probably take a period of time. There's going to be some kind of accumulation pattern. It could be an inverse head and shoulders. It could be a double bottom. It could be a Wyckoff accumulation. It could be anything, really. And I feel that that's what we're trying to experience over the next period of time, a few weeks, months. I don't know how long. The caveat is if suddenly Dtravel goes viral. That's the caveat, because if Dtravel goes viral, then everything changes. And virality isn't something that you can just program. It's just something that happens on its own. When it happens, it will take us all by shock and surprise, and then we will all suddenly become wealthy. I've marked out on the charts levels that I think we need to reclaim to go up. And so if people are looking at the price and feeling uncertain and they want to accumulate, but they don't want to accumulate now, then you can always wait until we reclaim these levels. 2/10 of a cent, 5/10 of a cent, 1 cent, 1.1 cent, and 2 cents. And these are really important levels. I'm basing it on higher time frame structure candles. So people sometimes say to me, well, you know, you can't really look at candles and structure on low micro caps because there's not enough volume. But when you kind of increase the time frame, you can, because there's enough volume in higher time frame candles to give you the confidence that those are levels that need to be reclaimed as support, resistance. And that's just purely technical. So we really do need to get back above that line at 2/10 of a cent. If we do, and we can find support, then hey, we're going up to the next level, and then the next level, and you know. But you could also go up and put in a lower high and reject, you know. So you have levels, you have key levels based on market structure, based on previous support pivots, pivot highs, pivot lows. And I think the dream of becoming rich for all of us is going to be when we reclaim 2 cents. That's going to be a really important recovery zone. 2 cents is going to be when everyone just piles everything in, because for a project like this to crash so much and to reclaim 2 cents, that's going to be a significant breakthrough. No one knows what's going to happen. I can't tell you it's going to happen. I don't know when it's going to happen. I believe it will happen in the future. And whilst a lot of people will sell into 2 cents, and that will be the first reaction probably, just because usually support zones become resistance zones on the way back up. If we're able to get back above 2 cents and flip it into support, then that is called reclaiming that would be reclaiming a range, getting back above 2 cents. We're back into the range. That's a massive sign of strength. This would be a massive sign of strength. For a project like this to go all the way down and then to do that, it means everything's changed. It means the market sentiment, the community, the project, everything's changed, and it means that now this has become really bullish. Yeah, and then this whole thing, whatever the forms here, would just be a deviation from a range, and then we're back into the range, and the probability then is to go up and break through 9 cents and then higher. That's kind of what I'm imagining for the future. And again, no one knows the future. I don't know the future. I have no idea if that's going to happen today, tomorrow, whenever, next month, next year, 5 years. I don't know. But I am bullish. I am bullish on this project because of the people, because of the new direction. And I will accumulate these lows happily with my coffee money. Coffee money. So what's happening with Dtravel recently is that Eric Pace, the new CEO, has been talking about a new traveller app. And so there's a lot of, I don't know if it's confusion or if that's just people not staying up to date. with what's happening. But it goes back to what I said originally, where Eric in his blog posts talks about the new chapter. He first talks about the new chapter, and he talks about the why of the new chapter and how this is going to happen. And the pivot is this. And so we don't lose what we've created. We don't lose this. We don't lose the network. The network is the hardest part, and it took a long time to build this, and this is just organically growing at the moment. We don't lose that. In fact, this becomes a major part of the foundation of the next iteration and the next transition part of Dtravel. But he's talking about how everything in the past didn't work, and so therefore we have to change direction. Yeah. And he's talking about the idea of bringing travelers. How do we bring travelers? In the past, we've tried to bring hosts. In the past, we've tried to bring investors, and it hasn't worked. We've tried to build partnerships with other cryptos, hasn't worked. In the past, we've tried everything. New tone economics hasn't worked. We've tried everything. Discounts for TRVL hasn't worked. Nothing's worked. So what do we do next? And in his mind, he's talking about bringing the travelers. Once the travelers come, then that changes everything. And the new direction is creating something that people want and bringing travelers. And when the travelers come, everything else will come. And he explains it. I've gone through this in my YouTube previous year, so I'm not going to go through it again. But effectively, he's talking about bringing the travelers. You don't bring the travelers by doubling down on the network and try, like if we double our hosts or triple our hosts or quadruple our hosts and listings, we're still going to get the same kind of proportional growth. We're not going to get the viral growth or the exponential growth. It just means we'll grow. It'll be a little bit quicker, but we're still just a small fledgling business steadily growing. It doesn't give us the exponential growth that we want. It doesn't really change anything. So we can double down on trying to build our listings. We can double down on getting into more places. But ultimately, if the travelers aren't coming and using Dtravel, what's the point? That's what we require. We require travelers to come. And so what he's talking about is, how do we bring the travelers? And it's not about changing Dtravel and getting rid of what we've built. It's about adding something that's going to be pivotal, become foundational to bring in the travelers, because at the moment travelers aren't coming. And he's talking about traveler identity and continuity, and he goes on and on about that here. And then he also explains how that's going to impact TRVL, and it shifts TRVL towards structural capital and helps power trust between strangers. So he kind of, it's quite, I wouldn't say it's detailed. I would say it's, relatively speaking, summarized and at worst vague. But he did a live written Q&A in the Telegram chat, and all you have to do is go into TRVL. You have to scroll up a long way, probably in January sometime. You just have to scroll, and you can actually go and read that. And this is a community chat, and this is where Eric did 2 community chats in TRVL, and he talks about the token, and then he also talks about the pivot. And then everyone here, this is it. And he goes over the feedback, and he's interacting, engaging with the community. And now what I'm seeing in the Telegram channels is that the community is now starting to grow again. We're starting to get interaction. We're starting to get feedback. We're starting to get the rebirth of the community. And this is kind of goes back to what I said back in October 23, where we made a pivot low because of the community. It was because of people's shared interest and common belief in the future of Dtravel. And this is what we're starting to rebuild now again. And Eric is leading that charge. And here you see that he talks. This is the Q&A. It was January the 12th. So you scroll back on Telegram and have a look at that. He talks about TRVL. He talks about the market. He explains it, what's changing. And I think this is it. I've gone through this. I've read through this in my previous videos, so I'm not going to go over it again. But this is where we're at. And so from when he announced the first new chapter to when he announced the post on Telegraph, and then when he did this Q&A, this is where we're at. And so what we're starting to see now with this new app is a continuation of what he initially suggested. The idea of creating a Strava for travel, which is Dtravel's Traveller App. So it's not the web app that people are familiar with, where you can book a direct booking website listing on Dtravel's website and deal directly with the hosts. This is something else, and this is the pivot. Yeah. And he explains right now there's $50 billion worth of value locked up globally in security deposits because hosts don't trust guests, including hotels. And travel has an enormous invisible trust tax. And what he's trying to do is create something where not only do we eliminate this trust tax, we take a lion's share of that trust tax in a different form. And here, look, he explains, Strava proved that 100 million people will obsessively track their data if you give them status for it. And now he talks about the demand, the new demand for TRVL. And he talks about what survives, etc., etc. And so what happened this week is that there was an announcement, and they've about to launch a new app called SAGA. And he made the post. Where did he do it? I think he posted it in the general chat. Let me go and have a look. Let me actually go and read it, because I haven't read it. This is it. Hello community. A few weeks ago, I shared that we are entering a new chapter. Today, I'm excited to introduce it. Our project officially has a name, SAGA. In a world increasingly flooded with AI-generated noise and perfect deepfakes, we believe your journey, your memories, and your lived experiences are the only things that matter. SAGA is built to honor that. Before we launch publicly next week, I want to share the new landing page and our teaser video. How you can help: feedback. Share the landing page with a friend or family member. What's the first thing they say? What questions do they ask? Share it in the chat. So he's asking for feedback now from the community. This is part of the community building exercise that I've been talking about, and Eric is leading that. But also it's about getting real feedback from people and not making assumptions about, hey, we've got an idea, it's going to work. It's about getting the feedback and integrating the feedback constructively, and then developing what we're doing and making it better so that it works, so that it applies, so that it's effective in the future of what we're trying to build. And it isn't just an idea based on someone's obsession, which was kind of the last leadership. They had an obsession about mass adoption, which never came to pass. They weren't focused on anything else except crypto mass adoption. Here, Eric is saying, hey, we want feedback, because we may not have all the answers, and there may be problems, there may be bugs, there may be ways we can improve this. And he's giving the community first opportunity to be part of what Dtravel is building. And that's what we wanted. We wanted to have a part, we wanted to have a say, we wanted our voice to be heard. And we're all investors here, and we want our value to have a meaning. He wants to help cut through the noise. When we start our public announcements, your voice will make a difference. So he's trying to streamline this. And then also he's asking for people to contribute to the story. He says we want our future ads to be powered by your reality rather than stock footage. He's asking if anyone has 5 to 10 seconds unfiltered travel clip, no filters, no edits, share it with us privately, and let's build the next chapter of Dtravel together. Eric Pace, and he's left 2 links in. So this is part of what he explained back in January, and this is the pivot. The pivot doesn't take anything away from Dtravel. It doesn't take anything away from the TRVL. What he's doing is executing what he has talked about in November and what he talked about in January and the Q&As. That's what he's doing. He's just continuing with that execution. He's got a vision and he's plowing ahead. He's pushing ahead. That's kind of what we want, and that's kind of what we needed. We needed a CEO who has a vision, who believes in himself, and is willing to take everyone with him. But not just that, he's not just taking people with him, he's also looking for people to come and join, participate. So it's a very different vibration, it's a very different energy that he's bringing to Dtravel. There are some comments here. I don't think I'm going to go through them because these are just people's conversations. Obviously, some people have concerns, some people have questions, and that's fair. Honest questions, honest concerns are always well received, and they are addressed. And I think here, if you can see, Eric is addressing them. Like here, he says, I explained Dtravel's strategy in this post. So he's explaining. He's not shying away. He's kind of holding firm to what he said before and what he's saying now. It's aligning. And here you can go into Telegram. You can kind of give your feedback. You can participate. There's a video, huh? Let me kind of post that video. I think I tried to do this on my previous video, which didn't work. So I'm going to try and do this now, and we can watch it together. Let me just drop and drag the file. I have to find it first. Here it is. You open a new tab. Let me play that again. In a world made of AI, your journey and memories are what's real. SAGA. Join the waiting list, dtravel.com. Sorry, it was a really short end take. And so what is he looking for? He's looking for feedback, isn't he? What does he ask? Let me go to it again. Where did it go? Oh my god, I've lost it. Oh my god. I have actually lost it. Don't know where I don't know where it went. Anyway, he's looking for feedback. I talked about that. What did he ask? Let's have a look at this feedback by Kitty comment. What can I share? Hold on, what did he ask again? Share the landing page. That's the landing page. So we just played it with a friend or family member. And what's the first thing they say? What? I think there's a lot of questions because it was very short. Didn't really say much. So let's just kind of have a look at Kitty Commie's feedback. A feedback on this TRVL hodl. That's Eric. I know this is not launched with the purpose of being social. However, I could borrow some features like a social. For example, influencers could use a feature button of the app to make that stay show up in their public journey history, or maybe omit some details. This would be a proof of stay, plus it would be a huge incentive for hosts to show. Okay, so this is good because there is feedback. I think the first thing that we can do is just share it with someone and see what they say. Okay, there's going to be questions, and what I think what Eric is looking for is post the questions. They've created a new channel here called SAGA. Here, Andrea, lovely Andrea, is also kind of interacting with the community. That's what we want to see. And they've posted it on X. Let's have a look at the post on X. So we're not getting crazy engagement yet. I'll repost that. What does she write? Saga is coming, the home base for your travels. So I think what's important is to recognize that this is a teaser, isn't it? We're just teasing people right now. I'm guessing it's because we want to build the excitement. We don't want to just say, this is everything, this is it. Because we need to kind of slowly build. It's like an avalanche, isn't it? It's kind of, or a snowball. We need to kind of grow it until it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. I guess that's what they're trying to do. All eyes will be on the app when it launches officially. I think they're going to launch it to friends and family, maybe to community first, to iron out any bugs and, again, get more feedback before they do an official launch. And I think probably what's going to happen is that when they do officially launch it, they're going to push it to all their previous investors or previous people who are interested in or have been interested in Dtravel. So we are going to get interest. We are going to. This is new, and this is something that, according to Eric, if he bets right, it's going to bring a lot of travelers to Dtravel. Now, how do travelers come to Dtravel? Well, they first come to Saga, and then from Saga they come to Dtravel, and I think that's kind of what they're trying to do. And they're creating a waitlist, so they actually want to create some kind of anticipation for the launch. There was also a blog post I saw. Let me have a look. Where is it? Let's go back to the Dtravel homepage. That's the blog page. That's the blog page again. There it is. You see that? Travelers Saga. So you have the web app, which everyone is familiar with already. It's just a web app. And this web app is also on the base app. So it isn't just a web-based app. It's also the base wallet app as well. Right, internet seems to be a little bit slow. There it is. So this doesn't change. This is already there. And so actually what's new here is this SAGA, the home base for your travels. SAGA, the home base for your travels, where everything you do away from home can live together. Notify me, so you can actually put your email address here and get notified. Private by default, no sharing required. SAGA is where your travels have a home, from local outings to global adventures. A living dashboard that brings together your past trips, everyday places, and what's next while on the move. So I'm very excited to use this actually, because I travel a little bit. I'm here in El Salvador at the moment, and I'm probably going to other parts of Central America, South America soon. And I'm really excited to try this out. Look at this. This to me looks like a teaser. Distance, flights, driving. Oh, look, they got driving, walking, running as well. That's exciting. Countries visited, 2025 at a glance. Cities explored, time zones lived in. Photos and videos. This is actually quite interesting, huh? If this could be this could be a game changer, because once we get people using this, that links directly to Dtravel, our web app, where people can actually book stays and book vacation rentals. I think once the travelers come, and if we can get, I don't know how many, but let's just say hypothetically we can get a few 100,000 travelers start to use this, then how many of those travelers can filter through to Dtravel? And then once the travelers come, the hosts will come and everyone else is going to come. So I think it looks very clean. It looks nice. This is just some screenshots, I guess. Uncover the globe as you go. Look at this. This is nice. Explore to continue enriching personal saga. Every piece of data synced is tied to a place on Earth. That flight to Tokyo, that special cafe, or last winter's ski trip. When your travel memories live outside of your control, they can disappear. For decades, we've trusted platforms to remember our lives, but platforms don't preserve your story, they monetize it, and they can erase it. We built Dtravel SAGA, so your experiences are never temporary. Dtravel SAGA uses permanent storage encrypted to protect your travel history. No subscriptions, no recurring fees. Only you decide who can see your data. Create a living map of your world you can revisit years from now or past now. Personal first, sharing second. Keep your saga personal. Control the chapters of your saga you want to share, or keep the entire journey to yourself. And it looks like they're going to connect to all of these different platforms and maybe pull in the data from all these different platforms. Select your storage and privacy controls. Your data stays yours. You can remove it anytime. Travel has a home. Revisit trip details and local favorites. Saga organizes the places you've been to automatically. It's a bit of a grammar mistake there. Engineered to last longer than any app. Permanent storage encrypted to protect your travel history. Secure cloud uploads, encrypted in transit. Permanent storage, no monthly fees, no subscriptions. 256-bit encryption. Join the waitlist for early access. And so this, I think when you share that teaser, you almost have to share this page too, huh? Frequently asked questions. Let's have a look at these. Uncover the world, a private explorer of your personal travel journey as it unfolds. What is Dtravel SAGA? SAGA is where your travels have a home. It brings together your past trips, everyday places, and what's coming next into one place, so your experiences don't stay scattered. Is Saga only for big trips? No. Saga is built for everyday exploration and global travel. Local outings, favorite spots, weekend trips, and long adventures all belong to the same story. Wow. Do I have to log or track anything? No. Saga assembles things automatically. You can add notes or details if you want, but nothing requires manual logging. Is this a social app? No. Saga is personal first. There are no feeds, followers, or public profiles. Sharing is optional and always intentional. See, how different is this? When you look at the other social apps, it's always about sharing. And then when you share, that's how these companies make money. They gather information and they sell your information to third parties and advertisers. Here, it's about giving me, the traveler, power over myself. And that, I think that's going to attract a massive audience, because people are quite concerned about safety, security, and being leached on, like our energy. We have to bring our energy back to ourselves. It's an important life lesson to bring your energy back to yourself, not to allow your energy to leak and to leave you from people who are trying to take it from you. And right now, when you're on your phone, when you're doom scrolling, it's always the same, isn't it? It's like, it's this dopamine that it pulls you in, and then they're taking it out of you, aren't they? They're sucking us dry. This is going to be very different. What can I share? You can choose to share a trip, a place, or a recommendation with friends and family. Nothing is shared publicly unless you choose to share it. Is my data private? Yes. Saga is private by default. Nothing is public unless you choose to share it. You can export or delete your data at any time. What data does Saga use? Saga uses things like email confirmations for trips and reservations, location data to recognize places, only to assemble your travels, not to sell or publish anything. Can I use Saga if I never share anything? Absolutely. Saga is designed to be valuable, even if you never share a single thing. Is Saga a planning or booking app? Not in phase 1. So this is interesting, because he's talking about phases, and now we're about to enter phase 1. Right now, Saga focuses on giving your travels a home. Planning and booking may come later, once there's a trusted record to build. And he's talked about that, hasn't he? He's talked about the ability to gather data and information, Dtravel, so that when we do eventually develop and update the tokenomics to bring all the value back to TRVL, we're not just going to do it willy-nilly. We're not just going to do it on a string. We're going to do it with real world data, knowing exactly what people want, exactly what people need, and exactly how to grow and exponentially explode Dtravel and TRVL hand in hand. Not based on hypotheses, but based on real world evidence, data. It's not an experiment. It's going to be based on reality. When can I try it? We're opening early access gradually. You can sign up now, and we'll invite people in as we build carefully. This is it. Wonderful. This is actually really fantastic. Thank you, Dtravel. To all the people in Dtravel, thank you for taking us. This is really pretty, isn't it? It's beautiful. The pictures are beautiful. The design looks very smart. I guess it's going to be an iPhone first app, because that's where the big market lies. It's going to be free, and it's going to be initially, I guess, invite only based on signups. And then as that starts to grow, I guess they'll eventually start to open that up. I think the next thing for a lot of people now is feedback. If you can just follow what Eric said and help him and help the team with feedback, and also this 5 to 10 second video that we can add, all of us, we're the community. We are true believers. We can all contribute to the next chapter, to the next part of Dtravel's story. And obviously we're going to, all eyes are on TRVL also. That's why people watch my YouTube stream, because they're interested in the crypto. I'm interested in the crypto. And we are, I mean, I've said this before, but we are starting to see decent accumulation. I'm not, again, I can't tell you that this is the low. I always think that with a micro cap like this, the structure and the accumulation is going to take a little bit of time. And obviously the app hasn't launched yet. It's a really opportune moment to accumulate because the prices are so low. I think for about $1,000 or so, you can pick up 1 million TRVL. If you consider that there's only 450 or so million TRVL in circulation, it wouldn't take more than half of that many people, maybe 200 or 300 people, to buy $1,000 worth of TRVL at these prices to make a bottom effectively. I've done that. I'm not saying everyone should do that. That's why I said coffee money, money that you don't care about, money that you can afford to lose. None of this is financial advice. I think that's the safest bet because you can sleep at night. You can have peace of mind at night. You don't have to worry. It's coffee money. Yeah. It's like money you would have wasted anyway. And if and when this becomes extremely valuable, that coffee money will become exponentially valuable. I think the key here is not to be greedy. I think greed is what destroys us. If we get greedy and you'll think, oh, why was he only telling us to buy with coffee money? I should have bought more when the price goes up to all-time highs. That's not the way to think about this. Right now, the most important thing is peace of mind, and it always is. And that's the way that you're going to not worry about whether this goes down further. If the value that you accumulate with is value that you aren't bothered about, then you can have peace of mind. And there's nothing more valuable than peace of mind. There's nothing more valuable than inner peace. Nothing, right? Technically, I have no idea. I do think the volume is okay. I see that we've put volume at these levels, so I can see heavy accumulation. And what we're experiencing now is effectively it's Bitcoin's bearish moment. A lot of people think there's going to be a crazy altcoin market, possibly. I don't know. But at the moment, when I look at Bitcoin, I'm seeing bearish signs, and therefore it is possible that we go lower across the whole of crypto. But just be rest assured that the harder they fall, no, how is it? The deeper we go, the higher we rise. That's how it works. The longer and the deeper the consolidation, the more bullish the project effectively becomes in the future. And this is what we're experiencing, a long, deep consolidation correction. I've kind of tried to suggest it could be some kind of higher time frame WXY. I don't know. I really don't know. It's all speculative, isn't it? I've talked about that idea. I'd like to be right, but I don't know. What I would like to see is if we could get a pump to go back and test 2 cents. I would love to see that. I would love to see a back test of, sorry, not 2 cents, of these lows here, 0.5 of a cent. I'd like to see a pump to test that and to make a higher time frame structural bottom here. That would give me confidence that the bottom is in. If we can get a structural, higher time frame structural bottom. And once we get the higher time frame structural bottom, it's effectively up all the way effectively. And then, as I said before, if we can get back above 2 cents, every single person is laughing. Every single person in Dtravel is laughing. It's the people that overcome the fear. They're the ones that ultimately succeed. But again, not financial advice. Do your own research. That's my relatively long stream update on TRVL. Thank you, Jeffrey, for joining me. I'm going to cut this stream and post it later. If you don't mind, I would appreciate a like, a comment on YouTube. Share it with whoever wants or you feel needs to see it. And I always welcome comments and feedback. You can always reach out to me directly, and I'm doing my TRVL updates once a week. I'll probably be streaming a bit more these days, but I may not talk about TRVL every time. I'm just going to try and stick to TRVL once a week, and then who knows? Maybe if there's like crazy things happening, I might have to increase that in the future. All right, have a wonderful week, and I'll see you possibly probably on Friday. I'll do my next stream on Friday. I think that's a good time to do it. Take care.